What's happening? You obviously see the camera. It's not a big deal. All right. So today we did a lot of graphs and charts in class, and I've noticed that before you struggled a bit. So last time we focused on line graphs and bar graphs. Today we're going to focus on charts. Charts are a little harder than line graphs and bar graphs, simply because in line graphs and bar graphs you can see an image, you can see a picture, you can see how the numbers are related. But today with the charts, it's literally just a bunch of numbers on the paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to read the chart step by step. I know a lot of you saying, I already know how to read the chart. Step by step, we're going to look at all the steps, see if they're necessary to read the chart. And then because there is no image, because there is no lines, no graphs, no bars, we have to write sentences that relate all the numbers in them. So by the end of this tutoring session, we should be able to confidently read a chart, point out all the aspects of the chart, and then construct sentences that relate all the information. Cool? Alright. So first paper that I'm going to pass out is literally step by step. So go ahead and put your name on there. This is going to be for you to keep. You can consult it in class if I ever show you another chart, which I will tomorrow and probably twice a week from now on. Right? Charts and graphs show up in revisions all the time. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to literally take it back and just break this down one by one. So who wants to read the first step for us? It's right there in the upper left-hand corner.
You want to read it?
Go ahead, Modesty.
This is what is meant by the outside of the chart. You can see that this table has information on the number of people living in poverty between the years of 1960 and 1972, and what percent of the total population this number represents.
Alright, so if you look closely, you see the arrow is pointing to the outwardmost information. That's bold. In plain English, what do we call that? What is that? Plain English in the chart. The persons below the poverty line by the number and percent of population. What is that? A what? A title. Circle it and write title. It's that simple. It is the title of the chart. We're always going to read the title of the chart. Why does it make sense to read the title of the chart? You know exactly what you're talking about. All these numbers don't mean anything without a title. So aside from the overall title of the chart, you're going to have titles for rows and columns. Does anybody know the difference between rows and columns?
Are rows like
Well, Stephanie's right, yes. Rows go horizontally. So pick out one of the rows and write, this is a row. Rows go horizontally across the chart. It's the year my mom was born.
my father? So I ask you to all those.
Alright, so rows always go horizontally. So when a question asks you to consult a row or to look at a row, you're always going to look at the information going horizontally. So therefore columns go
Up down.
up down. What's the word we use for up down?
Vertically.
Vertically. Alright, so go ahead and write that in there. These are called rows. They go up down.
This is the bowl. And this is the column. Bowl.
So
No, that's not vertically. That's horizontal.
there you go. Up, down, vertical. You got it, Stephanie? Okay. So here, the rows are giving us what information here? Yeah. If we look at a row, we can tell the year. Now we have to combine the information in the row with the information in the column. The columns give us what type of information? There's two separate columns there.
Number of millions and
Percent of total population.
The number of what in millions? people what?
The below the poverty line. Like, alright, so this one says like the percent out of the total population, and this one says say like what number is that? Like the actual numbers. The actual numbers.
Okay, this is the actual number and this is the percent. We got that. So this is the actual number of what? I don't think I heard anybody confidently say it.
Of the year, like the population of the year.
No, the people below the poverty line.
Yes.
Like,
This is the actual number of the people below the poverty line during these years. So you see how you just took information from a row, from the chart, from a column, and from the title just to make one concrete sentence? You see, reading a chart is not as easy as it looks. There are literally, you got to take information from each piece of the chart, the title, the rows, and the columns. And sometimes there are more than 2 sets of rows. Sometimes there are more than 2 sets of columns. So what you do is you take all that information that we just took and we construct a sentence that proves that we are able to effectively read these charts. So let's read the first sentence. And every time we get some information, I want you to tell me where on the chart they got that from. So Stephanie, you want to read the first one?
I'm gonna read it.
Number 3, the first bullet point.
Alright, in 1968, according to the 1979 U.S. Census Statistical Abstract.
Stop. Where'd they get that from? Yes. According to the 1979 U.S. Census Statistical Abstract. How did they know that's where it came from?
Column.
Okay, well, we have 2 separate answers here. We have the columns and we have sources. Columns didn't tell us where it comes from, right? The source is usually going to be under the chart. This is, hey, this is where we got this information from. This is where we pulled it from. So already they took one piece of information from the chart to construct their sentence. Read the rest of the sentence. Go ahead.
25 million people in the United States live below the poverty line.
Stop. Where they get that number, 25 million. But where? Did they tell you where to look?
Well, yeah.
Take a minute and reread what you read so far. Reread it to yourself. Everybody do the same. So little gentleman, what's that? Where did they get that number 25 million?
This one.
But how do we know where to go?
Because it says the number in millions.
Oh, because it says the year.
All
The
right.
smaller type.
What did you just say, Ingrid? It says the year. It tells you exactly where to look. It says in 1968. So automatically, we're looking at the row that says 1968. According to this chart, 25 million people. So if you put your finger on 1968, this is the row that we're looking at. You slide over, it says right there, 25 million people. And then she's going to get the rest of her information from the title. Live below the poverty line. And then she's going to show that information in a different way by using information from the second chart. She just changed that number into a percent. This represents 12.8% of the population. All right? So do me a favor. Take a quick 45 seconds and construct your own sentence, gathering information from as many different parts of the chart as you can. You can do it in a different format. The information doesn't have to show in the same order. Just prove to me that you've consulted multiple parts of the chart to get this sentence constructed. I want to see a row. I want to see information from the columns, from the sources, and from the title. Writing in silence. to 1 year that you're getting information from 2 separate years. So you have to point them both.
In
Okay,
1960,
you wanted to be 10, but you
And
have
say
to
how
add
deep
it
is
goes to be about the 10.
Alright, once you finish your sentence, I want to see if you can do it with a chart that I am not going to walk you through. I'm going to correct, edit your sentence, and it's literally the same format. Look at the title, look at the source, look at the title of the row, the information in the rows, look at the title of the information in the columns, answer the questions, and come up with a sentence that combines all of that information together, proving to me that you have effectively looked at all the aspects of the chart to truly understand what it's trying to show. We'll go over that and prove to me that you can do that, and we are done for the day, and you'll be fine for tomorrow's lesson in class. Perfect?
I'm gonna be so smart about tomorrow.
Smart about
Nice and foolish. Let me get your sentence. Get your sentence. Let me get your sentence. Don't feel rushed. Not recorded. Well, there's a reason why.
Why?
There's a reason why. So in the 50s, they weren't included in the census count. Especially if they refuse to acknowledge themselves.
Oh,
We have to look at all the information that's in the chart in context. You see, if you pay attention, you notice that these are below the poverty line during
but
the
you want to talk about
60s.
something like they talk about it.
This is true. No, this is true. But in the census, they were not counted during this year. This is all information that was collected for Johnson to prove his image, his vision of a great society. We talked about that like 2 days ago in history.
Oh, this is funny. Yeah, that's what it is. Me too.
So, 1972. Where we get this year from? What is that? What year does that say?
Well, that's what I learned.
Okay. So you've named it. Now extract some information from it. All right, what do you want to say? So you've already pointed us to 1972. What do you want to say about the year 1972 according to this chart?
Just the amount of people.
You know what? So go ahead and start with that. Write that amount of people. Go ahead and put the number there. And then I'll come back and we'll construct the rest of that. What does it ask me to do? Right, so all persons 65 and under, this is all of them. And this is, it's broken down into like less Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And it's all given to you in percentages. It's okay.
I'm thinking you say it's like small, half, add and stuff.
No. When it's given to you in percentages, the numbers are out of what? The numbers are out of what? When it's given. Good. Come on. Finish, Caleb? Alright. So, here's what I want you to do now. Based on what that chart is telling you, and what this chart is telling you, can you write one statement that compares both of them? See what information they have in common? Because they both come from the same source. So what information do they have in common? And can you write one statement that extracts information from both of them?
Like, and this is the exact like general. Like if I said both represent poverty levels, but this talks specifically about years and this about races.
A little bit more specific to that. So, for example, I see that they both have information from 1970. So I would say in 1970, this many people were below the poverty line, and this percentage of them were
Yeah, that's what I
white.
was saying. That's not weird.
Yeah.
That's not weird.
Extract
It's true.
information from both. You're done? Let me see your sentence. That's it. That is a legitimate question. How come
Yeah,
you
but
see
that's
information from whites and blacks, but you don't see any information from
No, I
Spanish?
think it was a baby.
All right. So I'm actually to do the same thing Kayla's doing. Once we're able to do that, it's proven to me that you can do both. So both of these come from the same source. All right. They both came from the same census, and they're both giving you information about people below the poverty line. What's the main difference between the two charts?
This one has like
No, I still don't like this.
Right, so this one is basic by years, right? This is a basic overview. And this one goes a little bit more into detail, right? A little bit more specific. So I need you to write one statement that extracts information from both of these. One statement that shows me that you have read information from both of these charts, and you can write one statement that shows me that you understand all of these charts. So compare the information, analyze the information, synthesize the information. So you can start with, hey, this happened in 1959. 1 year later, it looked like this, or both of these are in 1970, or so on and so forth.
No, take away the sound. I think I did something.
Finished, Kayla? Alright, so as soon as modesty is done, I want you guys to share sentences. Once you guys share sentences, I'll have one of you share out. And we will be.
How you gotta put this thing in the eye?
Is he done? Well, show Kayla first before you show me. Any feedback for her, Kayla?
Just to say something about this one more, because it was mostly about this and the increase and decrease. Is there something about like, I don't know, like something about a certain percentage of them being white or black or male, female?
So she ignored one of the columns.
Yeah.
So go back and see if you can insert information from that column. And Michaela, you can help her if you want. You can show her yours as an example if you want.
Stop it.
Come on, that's almost time, don't worry. Alright, so when you look at this chart, what's one question you still have? This chart doesn't give you the full picture of everybody who was below the poverty line. So what's one question?
So I'm gonna write about the Spanish people.
You can write about this.
I'm gonna write it.
That's fine.
Oh.
Write about them.
I wrote about
How you say write about them in Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay, what's that last part? Escribe
De
ello.
ellos.
Oh, ellos. Duh. Ellos. Duh. I knew that. I knew that. I always ask you guys.
And then you already know.
I tell you, I can't think in Spanish, so it doesn't come fast enough.
I'm so racist.
Wait, why weren't they included?
They weren't counted in the census. That's something we could look up, because that's honestly.
When was it that women studied? I forgot again.
When women started what?
Getting jobs.
Getting jobs. So there's no exact turning point. There are things that facilitate, that pushed women to get jobs, such as wars, when men go away to fight the wars, World War I and World War II, their husbands come back and take the jobs. But there's no during this year, women started getting jobs.
No, but it was more like nearly 20, wasn't it? Right?
So, well, definitely, because women suffered during that time, 1920s, definitely. Okay. We see a lot more women's rights.
Look at me getting a US history study on
US history, math, all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kayla, you want to share out your sentence, and then Stephanie and Ingrid, I want you to follow along on both charts and tell me how she got that information from both charts. All right? Because she's consolidating, she's synthesizing information from both charts. And then Modesty, you'll do it, and then we'll be done for today. Cool? Yeah, Kayla.
In the year 1970, 24.4% of the people in the U.S. overall were below the poverty line, and 22.6% were white.
So, 24 wait, what year are we talking about? I'm sorry.
1970.
1970. She says that 25.4 people were below the poverty line.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else did she say, Ingrid?
She said, how many percent?
Well, look. What year are we looking at?
Wait, but this is saying a percent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 22.6% out of that, 25.4 million were white.
There you go. So she looked at this as the general population. She said 25.4% of them, of Americans in general, were below the poverty line. And then she looked at this chart and said, out of that 25%, 22% of them were white. See that? Synthesize information from both charts. That proves to me that she understands how to look at the title and how to gather information from both the rows and the columns. Modesty, you want to share yours?
But if you think about it, look at the
I said the people living in poverty, I don't know how to say it, 63.3% of them were female, was that were mostly females.
Okay, what year are we talking about? We're missing information from the column.
in
In 1959.
Well, just because there's no
Yeah, but I
59
connected
doesn't mean
the
she can't connect
population.
them. All right, so walk us through again. Show us one more time. Come on, walk us through.
Right. In 1959,
Uh-huh.
people were living in poverty, right?
Okay.
below poverty line.
People were living below the poverty line.
63.3% of them were women.
Okay, so in general, her overall statement is that people
Most
were,
of them were women.
most people who lived below the poverty line were women.
Mhm.
How do you know that? What percentage of them were female and what percentage of them were male?
59% was male and 63.3% was female.
So we can see that more females were in poverty than males. If you included those numbers in your sentence, that would have proved to me that you can look at columns and rows. All right? And also, there's another piece of information in there that's missing. is it all male and female who are below the poverty line according to this chart?
What do you mean?
Are we talking
No,
about every
only
single?
no,
Which
only
ones?
only the ones that were older, 65 and older,
65 and older. How do you know that?
because the chart.
That's the title of
Column.
the column. There you go.
Alright, this is like saying one thing, like saying, you know, this is a gender,
Mhm.
whatever, ethnicities, and these are
Male and female.
what they want.
That is over.
Yeah.
That is good.
Probably like, you know, if you don't do eat, like if you're like other.
Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
female.
So that is a question that we could have. How could the percentages equal over 100? I wonder if that's a typo or if that legitimately came from the census. That's something I'll have to check. But overall, I think we got it.
Yeah.
Got it? So this is exactly what we're going to be doing tomorrow. This is exactly what your do now is going to look like
It's gonna get
tomorrow.
harder.
Of course,
Watch
it's
them all
gonna
be
get
tomorrow,
harder.
like,
We
never
are going
did.
to build on this. So
Word
we've
out.
done
We
graphs,
never did.
we've done bar graphs, we've done line graphs, now we're doing charts, and it's just going to get increasingly more difficult. All right? All right. See you guys tomorrow, second period.
Yeah, dude. Take the paper.
Yes, take the papers. They're for you. Matter of fact, give me the top one, and you keep the one. Yes.
This one?
Yes. Give me the top
Oh,
one,
wait, there was a back part.
and you keep the one with the example on it.
Alright, dude.
See you guys tomorrow.
Let's
Get
put
home
these
safe.
papers back.
Yeah, put my chairs back up, please.
Oh, yeah.
See you guys later.